We formally proceed to our session by keeping in mind the limitation of time. First of all, I would like to invite our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Mutlu Turkman from Turkey, on the topic of the promotion of physical activity and sports for all in Turkey, the example of Turkish sports for all federations. But before proceeding further, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker for this session. Professor Doctor Mutlu Turkman, currently working as rector in institutional affiliation, Bayburt University, Turkey. He is appointed as the Dean of Faculty of Health Sciences and rector in Bayburt University. He is working as a full-time professor in Bayburt University PES School Coaching Department. He is primarily focusing on the following areas of sports: likewise management, history, philosophy, physical activity, fitness and wellness, etc. He has been a successful athlete in Taekwondo for many years, and as a national level coach, many a time he has earned success in badminton. He has undertaken various important managing tasks in national and international sports organizations. Currently, he is also acting as the president of both the Turkish Bowling and Darts Federation and International Bocce Confederation. Please, Professor Dr. Mutlu Turkman, over to you.
Mr. Chair, thanks a lot for your introduction. Is my voice clear? Okay, my voice. Is the voice okay?
Yes, but a little over noise in your voice. Please check your mic.
Now, when I separate, is it better voice? Problems with the voice quality.
Yes, it looks okay now.
It's better, okay. Thanks again for your very detailed introduction. Actually, I am representing one state university, which is hosting around 15,000 students. Besides, I've been an active sports manager for very long years. I am the president of National and International Bocce Federation, which also includes darts and bowling. But I am also involved in Sport for All Federation for about address my speech with a title which includes and physical activity. I choose this COVID-19 pandemics. The whole world faced with a very big challenge of daily lives seriously. And during this period, now the whole world much better understands of physical activity. That's why I would like to make a connection between COVID-19 and physical activity. I want to share my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, for the audience.
Mr. Mutlu, you please check over status bar. You will find the present now option.
I've seen it. Is it okay? Can you see my presentation right now? Is my presentation on the screen?
Your slides are not working in the media. Please check it.
You can see it right now? No? Can you see it right now? No?
Your voice is not clear as well. I think your mic is not near to your face, which is due to that reason.
I will try a microphone, but meanwhile I have to fix my presentation as well.
Yes, now your voice is quite clear.
I didn't use microphone, it is the same. Perhaps it is because of the connection.
Exactly.
I will try.
And what about now? Is it better? Voice
Yes, yes,
Okay,
it's very
okay.
clear now.
Okay, then try to fix the presentation. I try to fix it.
Just click on present now.
Now, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
presentation. Okay, it's on the screen. Then I can continue with my presentation. So I would like to talk about our Sport for All experience and the promotion of physical activity in Turkey through our federation. And as the whole world faced with COVID-19 challenge, I would like to make a link between this challenge and Sport for All. Before passing into my main theme, I would like to just briefly inform you about Sport for All Federation in Turkey. Actually, Sport for All Federation was founded in Turkey in 1990 as one of the regular sports federations under Ministry of Sports. Between 1990 and 1995, the federation's main task was to promote physical activity and the sports culture at nationwide. From 1995 to 2005, the federation took another task. Its mission was to promote the new sports which hadn't been presented in a country under any kinds of federation. So for almost 10 years, the Sport for All Federation was a pioneer in introducing new sports disciplines in the country. After 2005, the mission again changed by the administration, and this mission was delegated to another federation, which is called Turkish Developing Sports Federation. And in 2008, then the federation went to a new phase, reconstruction phase, and when it started, it took a very proactive position in international area. I will also briefly inform you about this new period. From 2009 until 2020, when the COVID issue came into our lives, sport for all was a very growing trend in our country, in Turkey. There were various activities in order to promote sport disciplines, in order to promote competitive sports, in order to promote physical activity, and also there were various scientific activities, sports related activities under our federation. During this period, we focused on changing the minds of people about sports, and we wanted to return the foundation ideals of the federation, which is to promote sports culture and physical activity among the majority of the population. For this purpose, of course, we had to establish very strong partnerships with related institutions such as Sports Ministry, Ministry of Education, local authorities, municipalities, universities, etc. And in this period also, Turkish Sport for All Federation took very active position in international arena and was a very active member of TAFIZA, which is the international governing body of Sport for All movement. And afterwards, after 2015-16, the federation also focused on digitalization, and we could see the benefits of this movement when we faced with COVID issue in our lives. So when at the beginning of March 2020, when we had first cases of COVID-19 in our country, Sport for All Federation was very quick to adapt to the new conditions. I can say that during the pandemics, the Sport for All Federation was the #1 sport federation in Turkey, which adapted its circumstances to the new conditions which were introduced to our lives by the pandemics. And with this quick adaptation, we managed to establish very strong cooperations with all related stakeholders. And we took very innovative attitude towards the pandemics, and also we had various innovative projects run, which will be inside my presentation. And as a pioneer federation during start of COVID-19 pandemics, Sport for All Federation also took an advisory role for the rest of the other national sports federations. So what we did during this period, first of all, we established our professional studios. When there was lockdown in our lives at the beginning of March 2020, we very immediately, in just a few weeks' time, we managed to establish studios to record videos, to develop some home-based physical activities, and we also introduced some softwares, electronic softwares, which could be reached towards our mobile phones and our computers. So people could use these self-teaching tools. And we also created very special programs for different target groups, such as pregnant women, such as elderly people, such as some disabled people, etc. And one of our best project was the introduction of his app. His app, as you can see on the screen, this is not his app. This is his app. His HIS is the abbreviation of Sport for All in Turkish language. This is Sport for All app. But in Turkish, the abbreviation, the first letters are HIS. So we abbreviated this application as his app. This application can be reached on mobile phones and through computers as well. We had started developing this application a few years before the start of COVID-19. So we were a little bit lucky as we had some preparation period. So we had chance to use this application very efficiently during COVID-19. But when we faced with the lockdowns, we very immediately reacted, and we filmed a lot of new physical activity programs, and we put all these new programs for different types of target groups on the application. This application, his app, is a totally free application, can be reached from iOS or Android or through web. Now we have around 1,300 hours of films, so it has very rich content inside the software. We have more than 900 different types of exercises, but it was grown up to 1,200 exercises during the pandemic times. We have a lot of different oriented exercises for different groups. We have a water reminder inside this application, and also our Sport for All Federation is giving monthly awards for first 100 users, which is counted according to the physical activity parameters. So this application is counting your steps as another step counters. Also, it is counting your physical activity, it is counting your water usage, your sleep. So all models are integrated, and you get scores. And after each month, we list the first 100 users, and they are awarded with small presents. And now, with more than 600,000 downloads, it is the #1 application in Turkey for sports, of course. And you can see a short video. Perhaps I will try the video. I hope you can see this video. This is the presentation of the application. This is just to catch new users for the application. So most of them are home-based activities, which were very practical for private personal users at home. So just a very short presentation from his app. This is the #1 project of Turkish Sport for All Federation, which was very useful during the pandemics. And during the lockdown, it was not only this application, we also had very active programs through national TV channels. Turkish Sport for All Federation was the leader promoter of physical activity in our country. It had strong cooperation with TRT. TRT is the Turkish national radio and TV channel. So TRT1, TRT Sport, and IBA. IBA is the TV channel which was established for Ministry of Education at the beginning of pandemic restrictions. IBA TV was established with the cooperation of National Ministry of Education and TRT channel. So Sport for All Federation took very active responsibilities and produced a lot of contents for TRT1, which is the primary channel, TRT Sport, this is the national sports channel, and IBA TV, which is for used for Ministry of Education. During this time, in our studios, we recorded hundreds of courses for primary, secondary, and high schools. So Sport for All Federation was the main stakeholder of National Ministry of Education and prepared physical education courses, lessons in our studio, and all these courses were streamed through IBA TV. This was also supported by our Ministry of Sports and Youth, and this was activated with the help of Ministry of Education. You can just see some photos from the courses which were streamed on TRT, IBA TV. This is the TV channel for National Education System. And these are some other TV programs which were recorded for disabled people and streamed on TRT Sport channel. And this is another other pictures, other photos from another program. You can see this is from TRT1. In TRT1, we recorded many studio programs. These were all live programs, and we wanted to promote physical activity for ordinary people at home. This is important, of course, for your health and for your endurance, especially during the COVID-19 pandemics, physical activity came much more in front of our desk. That's why we try to give very practical courses to people, ordinary people, at their home. And this is another video. And our president, Mr. Yasin Bölükbaşı, also attended to various other TV channels, national TV channels, not only TRT, the other private national channels, and he introduced our application, his app. He also introduced other softwares and other studio programs developed by our federation on other TV channels. And we also activated very loaded website and we also managed to use social media accounts very efficiently during the restriction periods in order to promote physical activity. You can see this is our Facebook channel, Turkish Sport for All Federation. In Turkish, the abbreviation is HISFED, and you can see we have around 40,000 subscribers in our Facebook group. And this is the Instagram page, and we have around 17,000 person following the contents which are shared on our Instagram. And this is also our Twitter page on which we are promoting all our physical activity modules. So I briefly wanted to share what we have done during COVID-19 pandemic's process and how we tried to promote physical activity in order to cope with the restrictions and in order to maintain our physical, social, and psychological well-being, because COVID restrictions didn't only prevent us from physical activity. It was a big challenge for our social and psychological well-being. So we tried to support our National Education Ministry. We tried to support Ministry of Sports, and we also tried to support ordinary people who are staying at their homes for lockdown period. I wanted to stop with my presentation, and if there are any further questions, we can continue on specific issues.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mutlu Turkman, and your thought-provoking presentation is really very well, and you and your federation tried to engage Turkish for the program of Sports for All and physical activity during pandemic, which is globally pandemic, and having a very high effects on the performance of human beings, even a lot of deaths happening due to this pandemic. Now we provide the second presenter. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Badr Muhyiddin to present his research paper titled as A Comparative Study of Referees and General Self-Efficacy between Football and Hockey Elite Referees of Pakistan. Now over to Mr. Badr. I to explain over here. Please, Mr. Badr, if you have any question about Mr. Mutlu's presentation, please write in chat box. We will take these questions after the presentations. Now over to Mr. Badr Muhyiddin. He is a lecturer of physical education in Government Emerson University, Multan, and PhD scholar in Department of Sports Sciences and Physical Education. Please, Mr. Badr Muhyiddin.
Thank you so much, Dr. My dear respectable conference members, are you hearing me? My voice is clear?
Yes, your voice is quite clear.
And my slides also shown on your pages?
Your slide is in a very short note is showing on the screen.
Okay, just a minute.
Click to your presentation to enlarge it.
Yes, sir, I click on this.
Is it working before you?
Yes.
You may proceed, please.
बदर मुहैय्यीन दोबारा से स्क्रीन शेयर करो, वो बैकग्राउंड पे आपकी स्क्रीन पे ऑन होगी, फिर नजर आनी शुरू हो जाएगी। स्क्रीन शेयर अगेन करो तो वो हमें आपकी स्क्रीन पे नजर आएगी ओपन हुई हुई, ये आपकी स्लाइड, तो उस पे क्लिक करो, वो नजर आ जाएगी।
You may check on status bar present now. Please click on that.
Due to some technical problems, it is not sharing.
No problem, Mr. Badr. You may proceed to your presentation as it is shown to you. If you are seeing it well, you may proceed.
Okay, sir. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most kind, my dear respected conference fellows, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Badr Muhyiddin. I am PhD scholar in Department of Sports Science and Physical Education, University of Punjab. I am working as a lecturer in Emerson University, Multan. Firstly, I congratulate Professor Dr. Niaz Ahmed Akhtar, Vice Chancellor, University of Punjab, and Professor Dr. Mura Raza, Dean Faculty of Arts and Humanities, and especially thanks Dr. Muhammad Barbart, Chairman, Department of Sports Sciences and Physical Education, University of Punjab, and the whole team for giving me this opportunity. The topic of my presentation is a comparative study of wrestling and general self-efficacy between football and hockey elite wrestling of Pakistan. The team of this research, Badr Muhyiddin, myself, and Dr. Muhammad Barbart, play a key role in this research. And Dr. Azhar, Dr. Alam, Dr. Muhammad Abdul Jabbar Rahman, Khan Munir, and the The introduction of this research is human resources and remarkably and quickly at every organization nowadays. Wrestling and technical officials are important for organized sport competition, but nowadays sport administrators are facing problems that day by day a number of qualified sports referees on the line. It is common practice that because technical officials are not accessible for the competition, that the competitions are postponed to time in the future. As to the USA, some of the states and sports associations are dropping the games due to shortage of technical officials. The president of National Association of Sports Officials, Terry Mano, stated that there is more need to develop interest in male and female regarding technical official work because implying new referees is difficult nowadays. The research objective of my research to explore the difference between referee self-efficacy and general self-efficacy perception of football and hockey referees in Pakistan. And the second objective to explore the relationship between referee self-efficacy and general self-efficacy of football and hockey in Pakistan. The research question of my study is what is the difference between referee self-efficacy and general self-efficacy perception of football and hockey referees in Pakistan? And what is the relationship between referee self-efficacy and general self-efficacy perception of football and hockey referees in Pakistan? The methodology of this study is, in the current study, quantitative approach was used because it was considered most appropriate and relevant to research topic. Through convenient sampling, sports referees and technical officials were selected. The total population is the male 108 male from Pakistan Football Federation and 2 females from Pakistan Football Federation referees, and the 50 male and 5 females represent Pakistan Hockey Federation. And the samples of this study, 85 football male and 2 female, and the hockey 45 male and 5 females, total 137 sample size. It was calculated row sort sample size calculated. The first instrument of this study is the referee self-efficacy scale and general self-efficacy scale, the two instruments used in this study. The English and Urdu language questionnaire were distributed to referees only by the researcher after taking the time from the referees, and the researcher also set the Google forms in the different referees. In the current study, researcher applied independent tests on different sub-dimensions: physical fitness, and knowledge, decision making, pressure and communication, and referee self-efficacy and general self-efficacy on the both games. Also check if there is a correlation coefficient or sub-dimension of referee self-efficacy and general self-efficacy. The results of the study is basically firstly a distribution of total respondent according to gender status, 97.7% male in football, and the female is 2.3 in football referees, and in the hockey section 90% male participated in this study and the 10% female participated in this study. The second table is distribution of total respondent year of experience as well. I distributed in 4 sections in experience. 5 years are below, 6 to 10 years, 11 to 15 years, and 16 years are above. These are 4 sections, and 12.6 football referees fall in this category, and the 18% referees and officials fall in this category. 6 to 10 years old category, 24.1% football referees and 44% hockey referees. 11 to 15 years old, 52.9% football referees and 20% of hockey referees. 16 years or above, 10.3% of football referees and 18% of hockey referees. Now we come on the major results of this study. The table shows football referees had a significant difference in physical fitness, game knowledge, decision making, communication, and referee self-efficacy. But there is no significant difference between general self-efficacy between football and hockey referees. A very interesting result shows that hockey referees had a little pressure than football referees in this table. Now we come on coefficient of correlation of sub-dimension of referee self-efficacy and general self-efficacy. The correlation of coefficients between all variables are significant, like decision making and pressure, communication, and general self-efficacy. Whereas there was a relationship between sub-dimension of referee self-efficacy and highest positive correlation found between total score of referee self-efficacy and physical fitness, while lowest relationship between pressure and decision making. The discussion of this chapter, a sub-dimension of referee self-efficacy, physical fitness, game knowledge, decision making, communication, and the total referee score indicate that football referees had a significant more mean score than hockey referees. The result of current study was supported according to study of Caracom and Polar 2017. The result also indicated that football and hockey referees had a similar level of general self-efficacy, and hockey referees had little pressure than football referees in this match. The correlation coefficient between all variables are significant, except decision making and pressure of communication, and general self-efficacy. These results, highly supported within previous study, Mayers et al. 2012 and Caracom Fowler in 2017. The conclusion of the research article is football referees and technical officials have a high level of physical fitness, game knowledge, decision making, communication, and total referee self-efficacy score than hockey referees. Football and hockey referees had a more similar level of general self-efficacy. Hockey referees have a little pressure during match than football referees. The correlation coefficient between all variables are significant with respect decision making and pressure, communication and general self-efficacy. The recommendation for the further researchers in future, the present study had a limited scope to identify and referee and general self-efficacy of football and hockey. However, further research may be include referees and technical officials of other games and other local referees may be included for research process. Efforts must be made from Pakistan Sports Federations to conduct some other training sessions regarding the referee self-efficacy improvement. Data of current research were gathered from the referees via questionnaire, whereas in future research, data assembling technique can be changed. Data can be gathered from referees by more technique like interviews and open-ended questionnaires. It is also suggested to associate the other logical factors regarding referee efficacy may can improve the results. In a reference of all last slides, and thank you so much all of you respected members. If you have any question, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Badar. Now I would like to invite research scholar Ms. Maheen Hashim Khan from Rifa International University, Faisalabad, to present her paper titled as Challenges to Fitness and Coaching During COVID-19. Ms. Maheen, please. I think she is not present here.
Yes, sir. She is not in the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Now we proceed further to our next presenter, Mr. Osaf Chaudhry from International Islamic University, Islamabad. He is going to present his research work titled Role of Sports in Promoting Patriotism in Pakistan and Appraisal. Please, Mr. Osaf Chaudhry. Is Mr. Osaf Chaudhry is present over here?
Sir, he joined the meeting at the beginning, but he is not in the meeting right now.
Thank you, Ms. Naila. Okay, we proceed further for our next presenter, Mr. Muhammad Abdul Jabbar Adnan. He is lecturer and PhD scholar in Department of Sports Sciences and Physical Education, University of the Punjab, Lahore. His topic is Role of Gym Training and Academic Performance of Sports Persons at University Level, an Exploratory Study. Please, Mr. Abdul Jabbar Adnan.
Thank you very much, sir. Adnan is here. Can anybody listen to me?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, I will go to my presentation right from here. The topic for my presentation is role of gym training on academic performance of sports persons at university level. That is an exploratory study. The authors along with me are Mohammad Zafar Iqbal Bhatt, Alamgir Khan Qureshi, Irfan Munir, and Badr Mayuddin. These are the authors along with me. So I will go directly go towards the introduction and a literature view of the study.
Please, Mr. Adnan, if you would like to share it with the audience, present your presentation is not sharing with us.
Sir, Miss Naila, I think so.
Yes, sir. Sorry for interrupting. I will present now.
Thank you.
So I have to go along with that or for the presentation?
Yes, you may proceed,
Okay.
please.
So regarding introduction, the phenomena of exercises are commonly seen as fitness, exercise, conditioning, resistance training, and the better fitness training. However, it is very complex reality in the physical education and the physical fitness exercises in the gym training. Weight training involves some type of the resistance is to do a variety of exercises trying to challenge all your muscle groups, including your chest, back, shoulder, bicep, triceps, and other body parts. So positive association between the physical fitness and the academic achievement in adults age has been suggested yet to causal effect of the physical fitness on the academic achievement. I will go towards the determinants of the which are involved in the development of fitness, or the involves in the development of the body. That
Sorry for interrupting, sir. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
these are income and social support network, employment, working conditions, physical environment, education, healthy child development, biology and genetic environment, health services, personal health practices, and coping skills. These are those determinants which are involved in the development of the better health of a person in a society. So, what type of the motives are involved to join a gym are as the gym exercises or the physical activity in the gym is developed, reduce your stress, alleviate the pain, prevent the illness, build muscles, increase your productivity, better sleep quality, sharpens your memory, boost your energy level, greater confidence, lose or control your or manage your weight, more relaxed, improved mood. So, out of these motives, many of them are related to the psychosocial condition of the person, involved in the psychology of the person, which go towards the better mental health of the person, and better mental health goes towards the better academic performance of the students. So gym training exercises and psychological well-being. On the right side of the table, if you see that these are the components which are involved, which are those which are exercises as cardio and aerobic exercises improves your visual processing, and throwing and shooting capabilities increases your strategy and techniques. Motor skills improve your focus and concentration, and balance and stabilization exercises improves your memory and the learning procedure. So these are those components which improves your mental skills and mental capabilities, due to which you can perform better towards your sports activity. Towards the next slide, if we go, research says that the academic achievements are influenced by the physical activity. As the brain functions improves, effective control of the brain improves, intelligence of a student increases, academic achievement increases, behavior is improved, and the memory is increased due to physical activity. Further research says that those children who perform physical activity or do some sort of the gym training or gym activity, they have better motor skills, confidence, memory, cognitive skills, and better in their language. They laughter more, they dream good, they play well, and they perform better in their academic activities. So now, next, going towards the research objective of this study, which is related to the literature review, which I have mentioned above. The objective of this study was to explore the mental perception of the university students about the effect of the gym training on their academic performance. The hypothesis which are made by the researchers is that there is the positive effect of the gym training on the academic performance of the university students. That the framework is shown in the slide if you see. Moving towards next to the methodology of the research, that this is a quantitative type of the research in which survey method is used to collect the data. The data collection tool was questionnaire of 15 items with close-ended questions. Research data was collected by the research conductors, and the sample was taken from the students of the University of the Punjab, Lahore, before COVID pandemic. The sample size was 250 student players of Department of Sports Sciences and Physical Education. Validity of the tool was checked by the expert opinion, and the reliability of the tool was checked by Cronbach Alpha. The value is 0.5854. Now going towards the result of the study, regarding the result of the study, that independent sample t-test was run to check the difference among two different genders, but found there is no significant difference among male and female regarding their perception regarding that gym training affects their mental health for better academic activity. Furthermore, ANOVA was run on different age groups to check that the effect of, to check the significance of the component of the perception regarding their academic activity of the students and the effect of the gym training. Individual item analysis or chi-square test was done to check the activity or the significance of the different statements of the questionnaire. So according to the statement, the first statement, which is the major statement, was presented that presentation. According to the first statement, that in my opinion, my academic grades improves due to workout in the gym. And second one is that in my opinion, I can give better time to my studies after doing gym training for a shorter period of time because of the shorter period of the gym activity. Third one is that, according to my opinion, gym training improves my mental physiological capabilities, which cause a betterment on my academic performance. And on this slide, these are three are highly significant because of the p-value is 0.000, which is less than that of the alpha. And majority of the population is agree and strongly agree with that, with these statements. But for the statement on the next slides are that academic learning capacity increases due to yoga exercises. Furthermore, said is that my body coordination improves due to gym training, which helped me for the better listening in my academics. And I understood my body chemistry in a better way due to gym training, which helped me to understand the subject of biochemistry, physiology, and other subjects related to that. And the significant value which was found in all are 0.000, which is less than that of the alpha. And the related content which are related to that one are described in the research article further. The major one was presented over. So regarding conclusion of the, it is well accepted notion that the gym training increases the body and the mind activation. The positive effect of the training on academic performance are repeatedly documented in literature and also shown in the result as well. So during gym training, we can see that gym training can have a number of the positive effects of academic performance, as the literature also says. The gym training have gradually become an integral part of the athlete and student life. Physical educators, nutritionists, dietitians, and sports experts would agree that gym training have positive impact on the player academic performance. Majority of the players have opinion that the gym training motivates them towards the success of their academic capability. Further, regarding the future that special male and female players, as studies done on the student players, Department of Sports Sciences, but this study should be done on the male and female players of professional sport to generalize it and at national and international level as well. Study should be done on the basis of the athlete's social life. As in this study, that is just an exploratory study in which the social content of the player was not elaborated. So this study should be done according to the basis of on the basis of athlete's social Furthermore, it is said that the students should be guided in their academic institution for the awareness of the gym training and addressed in the general population to generalize their impact of that on the. Thank you very much, sir. This is our presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Jabbar Adnan, for your presentation. Now proceed further, and it is now presentation from my side. Are you seeing the screen? The topic of my research is information communication technology, ICTs on sports of university students.
ये WhatsApp नजर आ रही है, इसको और बड़ा कर लें.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Sure, thank you. Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I want to thank you, Mr. Muhammad Abdul Jabbar Adnan, Mr. Alamgir Khan Qureshi, and Mrs. Yasmin Tawassum, who are also co-authored with this article. When we talk about information communication technology, and the information communication technology is defined as a diverse set of technological tools and resources used to communicate and to create, to disseminate, store, and manage informations. So ICTs may be online resources, likewise internet, YouTube, ebooks, blogs, online forums. Similarly, in teaching mediums, likewise projectors, LEDs, interactive whiteboards, computer presentation tools, Microsoft PowerPoints, Prezi, Microsoft Word. While in learning tools, educational games, fun games, cognitive games, mainstream games, flash games, serious games, educational gadgets, e-readers, mobile phone, tablets, VTech or V-readers, etc. When we talk about the technology in sports, there is a lot of information communication technology involved in technology in sports. If we see only one sport like soccer, a lot of technology involved in modern sports of soccer. Likewise, you can see the jerseys which are specially designed to not only keep the players cool but also give them added comfort. Similarly, goal line technology used to determine whether a ball crossed the goal line. Similarly, smartphones used to provide a variety of apps for fans to keep up with the games. Similarly, a lot of type of shoes involved to play soccer, which are quite comfortable and having good material. Similarly, the ball used like bazooka ball, which is specially designed, having less effect of aerodynamics, and vanishing spray, which refers to mark free kicks or penalty kick used by the referee. When we talk about the technology in sports, ICT is extremely useful in sports for many reasons, as video officials use ICT to help them make decisions which would be hard to see normally. The use of ICT makes the results more accurate and well organized. Some sporting organization may use a computer to assess sport injuries. Similarly, in athletics, technology is used to detect false starts, computers can be used to design floor for indoor sports, computer-aided design of sailing boats or Formula One races, sports watches and heart rate monitors help with keeping fit. In sailing races, navigation software is used connected to internet and GPS for tracking locations. So if we see the role of IT in enhancing the sports performance, use of web-based items in sports as email, blogs, Facebook, Twitter, lot of websites, journals, YouTubes, etc. Similarly, we can see improved fitness testing, body diagnostic tools, nutrition, training and fitness as per body type of an athlete, and dope testing, which is one of major abuse in world of sports, injury diagnosis and treatments, audiovisual accuracy and elegance, time management, pathophysiological diagnostics, likewise EEG, EMG, ECG, etc. So when we talk about the integration of ICT in motivation for sports, the use of ICT in sports science and physical education makes the science of sports come to life by linking both physical and mental activity. It also helps to create full-fledged students who can concentrate better on both practical and theoretical work. Furthermore, it brings enthusiasm and motivation for both physical education teachers and students. Information and communication technology describe the variety of technological tools and resources used to produce, distribute, store, and manage information and knowledge. In the modern era, these tools have brought revolution to training and teaching methodologies of sports and physical education. So if we see the role of ICT in sports change management, one of the things that have seen many changes in sports management, it has improved communication, documentation, and the ability to analyze performance. For this purpose, a lot of variety of tools used like laptops, tablets, smartphones, watches or gadgets having the display on your wrist. So in the current sports environment, the implementation of knowledge and practical management projects has become easier with the help of technological tools. So my research objectives in this study to find out whether sports students knows the use of ICTs, to find out to what extent ICTs are helpful for the sports persons, and to know the purpose of use and applications of ICTs by university students at university level. The hypothesis of this study is there is a positive effect of use of ICTs on sports performance of university students. You can see the frameworks that the use of ICTs having the positive effect on the sports performance. The research methodology used in this research, it is a quantitative type of research. A survey method was used, a questionnaire with 20 items, having close-ended question, having 20 items. The sample taken from the student players of University of the Punjab, it was sample size was 299 male and female student players. It was before COVID-19, and validity of tool was checked by expert opinion, and the reliability to Cronbach's alpha's value was 0.882. So Pearson correlation for relationship between ICT and university players' performance. Pearson correlation value R square is 0.762. The significance two-tailed 0.000, and the sample size 299, where alpha is 0.05. if we see the major statements through the chi-square analysis for the major statement, the statement was, do you think there is a greater demand of ICTs in sports nowadays? The more than 139 students agreed, while the strongly agreed 81 students. And the statement, do you think various countries of the world are utilizing ICTs in order to improve their sports performance? About 119 students were agreed and strongly agreed 79. And the question about, do you think ICTs have made the lives easier and more comfortable for every sports person? 105 students agreed and 86 strongly agreed. Similarly, the statement about, do you think the universities and institutions are encouraging their sports students to use ICTs? 106 students were agreed and strongly agreed were 60. And similarly, do you think the coaches are utilizing ICTs properly? It was 82 students who agreed and 32 were strongly agreed. While the do you think the students players are comfortable in using ICTs? 113 students were agreed and 57 were strongly agreed. So another question which was asked, do you think ICTs have made organizational communication better between other sports organizations globally? 83 students were agreed and 78 were strongly agreed. So if the conclusion of this study was, the ICT plays a vital role in the human being, particularly in the field of sports and games. ICTs help to avoid mistakes in organization and administration of various sports and games at world level. In the meantime, in sports, information communication technology has established scientific discipline, research activities, improved learning and coaching, biomechanical analysis, and field research have evolved. ICTs has a major role in physical education, lesson planning, ICT, but not exclusively using digital videos, has a crucial role to play in the coaching, teaching, and learning of physical education, and that coaches and teachers may be at the very early stage of the recognizing this. If a future research directions will be seen, that even from this small study, it is clearly evident that the ICT is greatly influencing our perception about sports and physical activity, and it has a great impact on the life of sports person, coaches, and the people who are involved in sports in some way or other, and all of them are able to benefit from the potential it is believed this offers. This study should be done on a larger population to generalize it. Awareness campaign about use of ICTs should be done among players and students, an eye-opener for sports authorities to facilitate players and all sports concerns with ICT equipments and systems. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please, you may proceed. So, thank you. Now our next presenter is Harmandeep Kaur from Punjab University, Chandigarh, India. She will present her research work titled as Effect of Pranayama on the Menstrual Attitude of Females with Symptoms of Premenstrual Disorder. Ms. Harmandeep Kaur, please. You may proceed now. Miss Harmandeep Kaur, are you
Yes, sir.
listening?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, should I display the PPTs for you as you have sent
Yes,
me an
ma'am, you
email?
can. Yes, ma'am, you can, ma'am.
Okay, okay, I will be. Is it visible?
No, ma'am.
Yes, it is visible now.
Yes, ma'am. Can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good evening to Professor Turkman and coordinator and chairperson of the panel. Today I am presenting my paper on effect of pranayam on menstrual attitude of females with symptoms of premenstrual disorders. Every month, women's body goes through a radical changes in preparation for possible pregnancy as the hormones shift their delicate balance. These changes are experienced as physical and emotional feelings. For some women, these monthly changes bring several days of discomfort and stress. It is known that 3 out of every 4 women may experience slight physical and mental disorders before menstruation. Menstrual attitude refers to feelings and behavior for coping with monthly cycle, which may vary in accordance with cultural beliefs. Menstruation is influenced by day different life perspectives like physical, mental, emotional, social health status, physical activity, and eating habits. Women's attitude predict menstrual event to be worse than they actually are once the event is experienced. Both premenstrual experiences and negative attitude becomes main factor that leads to aggravate the premenstrual syndromes. Women having a negative attitude towards menstrual cycle experienced PMS more severely. Regular exercise and exercising during menstrual cycle helps reduce physical and psychological problems associated with menstrual cycles. At the last, attitude towards menstruation is a psychological factor associated with some physiological changes and premenstrual symptoms. Sedentary lifestyle and less physical activity can affect the menstrual attitude. In this manner, it is important to give information and intervention programs that can alter the attitude towards menstruation in positive manner. Objective of the study is to observe the changes in menstrual attitude of females with symptoms of premenstrual disorder by modifying their lifestyle with yogic pranayam interventions. Further methods of the study. This was a pranayam interventional study was with regard to menstrual attitude of females with symptoms of premenstrual disorders. A diagnostic criterion for premenstrual syndrome by American College of Obstetrician and Gynecologist was used for the selection of subjects having premenstrual disorders for the present study, and the 20 females of childbearing age with symptoms of premenstrual disorder were selected from Chandigarh and introduced with pranayam interventions. Pranayam interventions lasted for 3 months and included 4 menstrual cycles, and the outcome measures were collected 4 times at similar time point from the first cycle to 4th cycle before the onset of menstruation, means in premenstrual phase. Pranayama were introduced to subject to modify their lifestyle and enhance their fitness level. Volume of intervention in initial 6 weeks was 4 days week for 30 minutes, and in last 6 weeks 4 days per week for 45 minutes. Menstrual attitude of females were measured by menstrual attitude questionnaire constructed by Brook and Gunn 1980. This questionnaire was consisted of 33 positive and negative items, measured women's attitude towards menstruation, and further divided into 5 domains. Analysis of covariance was used to find the effect of pranayama intervention within the 4 cycles in 3 months. Next slide, please. Table number 1 indicates significant difference within the 4 menstrual cycles with regard to all domains of menstrual attitude during the premenstrual phase. F ratios were found significant at 0.05 level of significant, and Sheffield post-hoc test was applied to see the directions and degrees of differences with the 4 menstrual cycles. Next slide, please. Table number 2. Could you please listen? Table number 2 shows difference between paired mean of 4 cycles. In this table, you can see significant difference found between cycle 1 and cycle 3rd, and cycle 1st and cycle 4th, and cycle 2nd and cycle 4th in menstruation as a bothersome event. First event. In natural events, significant difference was found between cycle 1 and 3rd, and cycle 1 and 4th was observed. In anticipation and prediction events, significant difference was found between cycle 1 and cycle 3rd, cycle 1 and cycle 3rd, cycle 1 and cycle 4th, and cycle 1 and 2nd and cycle 4th. In denial of any effect of menstruation, significant difference was found between cycle 1 and 2, cycle 1 and 3, cycle 1 and 4. In anticipation and prediction event and denial of any effect of menstruation, differences were found even after 1 month of pranayama training, and subject felt less menstrual symptoms and felt good with less effect of menstruation in second cycle with 1 month. After 1 month, even after completing the 1 month of pranayama training. Next slide, please. In this slide, you can see the figure, and you can see the progression line graph that present how attitude has changed over the time up to 4th cycle with pranayama training in every month. Line graph goes up in natural event and denial, that indicates positive improvements with higher score. Other 3 domains, that is anticipation and prediction, bothersome and debilitating, showed downward line graph in progression, and the lower score in these 3 domains indicates that the attitude towards menstruation is better. Here I want to make clear that lower score is better in anticipation, prediction, bothersome and debilitating, and higher score is better in natural event and denial. Next slide, please. Discussion of the study. The results of this study shows that there was significantly positive improvement in all domains of menstrual attitude after completing 3 months of yogic and pranayama interventions. Subject shows more positive attitude towards menstruation in the 4th cycle. Yogic pranayama increased the acceptance of menstruation in females and perceived less disruptive event. Shows less prediction before the onset of menstruation in the last cycle of intervention. Subjects felt less bothered and debilitating after completing the 3 months of pranayama training. Naturalness also increased in women after completing the pranayama interventions. A study conducted on university female students shown that a menstrual attitude has a relationship with premenstrual symptoms. Furthermore, on the basis of mentioned study, a study concluded that both yoga movements and aerobic exercise were effective in improving premenstrual syndromes, and yoga was more effective than aerobic exercises in relieving premenstrual syndromes. Ganesh et al. Examined that pranayam improved the quality of life and reduces stress level in college students, and suggested to use their findings to enhance menstrual well-being and improved quality of life of college students. Premenstrual symptom and negative attitude becomes main factor that leads to aggravate premenstrual symptoms. So at the last, it can be suggested that pranayam can improve the menstrual attitude of females significantly. Furthermore, as menstrual attitude has relationship with premenstrual syndrome mentioned in study, it could be assumed that by improving menstrual attitude of female can lead to reduction in premenstrual syndromes. Conclusion. The results of this study shows significant improvement in all over menstrual attitude, as after completing 3 months yogic pranayam training, females shows better attitude for the acceptance and less anticipated and predicted about menstruation. After 3 months of pranayam training, menstruation seems more natural for females after pranayam practice. Female achieved better attitude with regards to menstruation as debilitating and bothersome. On the next slide, there are some references that I used for study. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harmandeep Kaur. Thank you. Now we proceed to our last presenter of this session, Dr. Amara Sahar, Institute of Educational Research, University of the Punjab, Lahore. She will share her research paper titled Aspiration as a Predictor of Self-Perceived Employability of University Graduates. Dr. Amara Sahar, please. Dr. Amara Sahar, are you listening me?
Dr. Amara Sahar, please unmute yourself. I guess your mic is mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
To all of you, thanks for giving me this opportunity to present my research work with you. And first of all, I'm Dr. Amara, and I'm serving here as an assistant professor for the last 15 years in the University of Punjab. And this was basically part of my PhD study. Can you see the presentation?
Yes.
So the topic of my presentation is aspiration as a predictor of self-perceived employability of university graduates. Actually, there are two main variables in this study. Aspiration is first variable. Aspiration is basically defined as what the force, what drive the students to be, what they will become. It's about their future, how hopeful they are, how aspired they are for their future. And this is basically responsible by literature. Review the literature. It is the responsibility of schools and institutes to inculcate this characteristic. This is basically psychological construct to develop the students so they can think high. We can say it's like think high, fly high. How much high they can think and how confident they are. This is basically aspiration, and the second variable is self-perceived employability. Self-perceived employability have two different contexts. First of all, we have to understand what was the traditional context of employability and what is the latest one. Traditionally, it was the employability was the responsibility of the employer to develop, to train the people, and to maintain their abilities and skill level according to the needs. And now it's the responsibility of the graduate to be employable, to get their employment and to be employable for their future. There is the difference in contextual, there's a difference of the point of view, or the view entirely different right now. So I was interested to come to know how the graduate think about their own selves. And these were the two main, and as far as introduction, all of us know that importance of education, and it is basically aimed at developing knowledge and skills, ability of the students, and polish them according to the employment world. And there are two main competitors in the Pakistan. First one is private sector graduate, and second one is the government sector graduate. And they are competing in the employment world. And now there's a question how the university prepare their graduates, and how much confidence and strength they give the graduates. And next, review of related literature. There are so many authors who have done work on these variables, and in different countries they identify that the addition is very important for employment, and there are some grading studies as well. That's why I wanted to know that what's going on in Pakistan. And next, objective study were measuring the level of self-perceived employability and aspiration. And second was, is the aspiration a predictor of self-perceived employability? And third one was, what is the level of self-perceived employability and aspiration in government and private sector, public and private sector universities? And the fourth one was comparison of aspiration on the basis of objective. And research question and hypothesis are formulated here. What is the level of aspiration and employability? And according to the objectives, 4 different hypotheses are formulated on the basis of objectives. And then type of study was the positivistic paradigm, and I have done quantitative study, and it was a survey-like study, and the purpose was to predict because there was a relationship in both these variables. That's why I was interested either it is a predictor or just there is a relationship. And the population study was comprised of final semester students of universities, and I took 10 universities, 5 from public sector universities and 5 from private sector universities, and 8 departments. Those were matching, those were present in both these universities. And it was a big sample of 2,411 students. And this was the flowchart of sample. There were 38 universities in population, 18 and 20 in public and private sector, and accordingly 2-year and 4-year programs for my graduate were considered for this, and the final semester or final year students were taken as a sample. And the instrument was developed by me, and it was aspiration scale was 13 items with a probability of 0.84, and self-perceived employability was 43 points with a reliability of 0.75. And SPSS was used for this data analysis, and G-test and general linear regression was applied for next analysis. And as far as alignment of objective with hypothesis and the results, first objective was measuring the level of self-perceived employability and aspiration of university graduates. There were 2 main questions: what is the level of self-perceived employability, and what is the level of aspiration? As a result of self-perceived employability, descriptive statistics were applied, and as a result, the mean value was 3.75, and aspiration mean value was 4.02. Both these values are positive, and these were present, and it was around agreed. The self-perceived employability was a little bit less than before. That was recorded as agreed, and aspiration was a little greater. And the second objective was that there is a prediction between aspiration level and self-perceived employability. As I used Canadian model for the regression, and the equation that was rounded out from the data analysis, it was y is equal to 0.5 x plus 0.906. And R, there was, this is R square. R square was 0.92. And the third objective was compare the self-perceived employability and aspiration level of public and private sector university. And here, no significant difference between public and private sector university aspiration and subsequently self-perceived employability. And t-test was applied, as a result, the aspiration level of public and private sector university graduates was the same. It was greater than 0.05 p-value, and in case of self-perceived employability, there is no significant difference of public and private sector universities was rejected. There was difference, and self-perceived employability was of private sector was a little bit higher than the government sector. That's why it was a point to think about. And then next was the comparison of aspiration on the basis of gender, and as a result, there was the difference between male and female students' aspiration. And conclusion is that article was aimed to measure the aspiration level, and as far as the values, mean values are concerned, these were positive, higher quality, and then the main important finding was that the aspiration level of graduate was we can predict the employability of graduate if the predictor variable means aspiration varies by 1 unit. Our model predicts that the 1.49 units shift will be observed in the resulting variable, that is self-perceived employability. So aspiration level is a strong predictor of self-perceived employability at the level of p-value 0.001. P-value is less than 0.05. So we can conclude that there is significant linear regression. And same prediction was found in some other study as well. It was PhD work, and as a result of that, they predict that hope is a strong predictor of employability. And other important finding is that aspiration of individual ability behavior affect the student's self-perceived employability. It was backed by many studies. And the study also revealed that gender create difference in aspiration level. It can be further explored as well. And it is a requirement of the current market that psychological aspect of our graduates be focused on, such as it's like Australian government set the aim of attaining aspiration as objective of their policy. And we also should focus it. And more efforts are required from universities to enhance employability and perception by offering more acceptable areas of specialization in different disciplines. Students choose specialization because they perceive that the area is highly rated by the society and represents successful working community where the individual is given freedom and confident by their institute. And training and guidance is also required. We can utilize aspiration as an important variable for ranking the university. Because if they can think in a positive and in a confident manner, they can do better. And it has been proven that ambition is strong predictor of employability perceptions. So we need to focus aspiration as psychological aspect in our teaching learning process as well as in learning. I think that's all from my side. References. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much, Dr. Amara sir. If you have any question, please attendees send it in chat box. Okay, thank you very much for all the participants and presenters. Mm, Now I will give a brief overview by summing up the whole session, which was titled Sports in the Academia and Nation Building. As we know, sports has a great role to play when it comes to nation building. It helps in elevating qualities like discipline, determination, teamwork, and a passion for fitness in the psyche of a nation. Today's sport emerges as an important component of the socio-economic development of country. Active participation in sports improves community health and productivity, reduces medical expenses, develops discipline and character, generates great leaders, and enhances social cohesion. Our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Mutlu Turkman, narrated that when the COVID-19 outbreak hit our lives, the Turkish Sports for All Federation reacted very quickly and took advantage of this situation by promoting the use of physical activity tool efficiently and managed to spread awareness about sports for all and physical activity, which is the main motive of IOC as well. While Mr. Badr pointed out in his research that how sports administrators are facing problems, that the number of qualified sports referees are on the decline, which may directly have a negative impact on the quality and quantity of sports. Mr. Abdul Jabbar Adnan emphasizes on the role of gym training on academic performance of sports persons at university level. He tried to convey a strong message that gym training helps students to improve their academic grades, improve their psychological and physiological capabilities, and increases the capacity to perform better in practical classes. While I tried to tell that the technology has been intrinsic in the development and advancement of sports, much like it has in other aspects of life. With significant advances in technology, players now receive competitive advantage from the use of certain sporting equipment. ICTs in the sports have established a scientific discipline which has evolved and improved learning, coaching, and biomechanical analysis. While Ms. Harmandeep Kaur has described the effect of pranayama on menstrual attitude of female with symptoms of premenstrual disorder, she revealed significant improvement in overall menstrual attitude after completing 3 months yogic pranayama training. Menstruation seems more natural even for females after pranayama practice. Female achieved a better attitude regarding menstruation as debilitating and bothersome event. Our last presenter, Dr. Amara Seher, told the higher education is the key indicator to gauge the progress of nation. The foremost purpose of education is to inculcate skill, knowledge, and abilities in graduates so they can contribute towards success. She identified that the aspiration level as a strong predictor of self-perceived employability and also concluded that the self-perceived employability of private university graduates is higher than that the public university graduates. If I see all in all, it was quite a comprehensive session on sports in the academia and nation building. I would like to end the session with Nelson Mandela's beautiful quote that sports has the power to change the world. Mandela said, "It has the power to inspire, it has the power to untie, it has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. It speaks to youth in a language they understand. Sports can create hope where once there was only despair. it is more powerful than government in breaking down racial barriers. So with this quote, I would like to thank you very much to all the presenters, organizers, and participants of this conference. And I am very much thankful for the coordinator, Ms. Naila Iqbal, as well. Ms. Naila, over to you now.
As I conclude this meeting, I would like to thank our chair, Dr. Zafar Iqbal Bhatt, for organizing this conference in such a beautiful way, this session in such a beautiful way. And I would like to thank our panel, Mr. Badr Muhyiddin, Mr. Dr. Abdul Jabbar Adnan, Harmandeep Kaur, Ms. Harmandeep Kaur, and Dr. Umara Sahar for being here. And I would like to thank all our participants who took part in it, to listen to it. And with this note, I would like to end this meeting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Now I will end